Hi, I'm Rigger. This is You Alright, and I swear I'm not crazy. I know, you saw the title, you came here to tell me how wrong I am and how stupid this is, but instead of that, I have a challenge for you. Just hear me out. Just stick it out and let me know what you think at the end. This is absolutely my craziest theory so far, but if you think I can't pull it off, then you don't know what channel you're watching. Quick note before we begin, this contains spoilers for Volume 8, Chapter 4. Yeah, there's your warning. And for those who know that episode, yep, I'm well aware of what's in it, and I'm telling you, this theory is still something I'm putting out. I'm telling you, I've rewatched every single Hazel scene on repeat, studied every Hazel line, examined the plot as a whole, and even looked up his Amity Arena card to see if there's something I missed. This one runs deep. Before we start, be sure to like the video if you like it, share it if you think others would like it too, let me know how crazy you think I am in the comments below, and subscribe if you want to see more. Also, holy crap guys, I was remarking how long the script was already, then right as I go to record it, I see this, and of course I must include a massive thank you. Halfway to 1,000. When I started, I thought there was no way I'd even get to here at all. That's not hyperbole, I just thought I'd make some fun little videos with some writing ideas, and maybe a few people would see them every now and then, maybe hopefully like them, and every time I come back to YouTube now, that number just goes up, and we're already at 500. I am so grateful guys, I don't know what to say, so I guess this is now a 500 subscriber special, sure, why not? I totally wasn't going to make it anyway, but now that's done, on to the madness. So before we totally dive in, I'll give you a quick background of how I got here, so you can understand my thought process a little bit. Basically, like everyone, I died a little inside when Hazel's backstory was fumbled over like a car crash in just a few sentences during Volume 5. Everyone immediately jumped on how weak it was, how it didn't make sense, it raised question after question, and mostly we were just disappointed, because prior to that, Hazel held so much promise to us. He was interesting right up until the point that he wasn't. Now, all this time later, I'm going over video ideas and stuff I'd written down ages ago when I saw Volume 5 the first time, and of course in the pile of ideas was what to do with Hazel. His fighting and stuff is a fun concept, but in general, he's a laughingstock and no one takes him seriously. Little Oscar made him have to pause and give a half-hearted excuse with the faintest probing challenge. It feels so flimsy. Now under the heading of what we can do with Hazel, I jotted down every little idea that came to mind, both in the show and just random plot ideas to try and give him more substance. Out of nowhere I wrote, Hazel is a double agent for Ozpin. An idea simply so ridiculous it can't be true. I was just writing down every idea and I guess I put it at the craziest end of the scale. I just put down one that's definitely not true. Because I, just like all of you probably right now, had the exact questions immediately jump to mind. It's like, that can't be the case because like, why didn't he tell him at the train station who he was? Why did Oscar feel something horrible when he saw him? Why did he try and kill Oscar? Why did he tell Salem about Oscar and the lamp and Atlas? There's too many holes, it just can't be. Well, guess what? I'm here to tell you I have the answers to all of those questions and more. I can feel the skepticism radiating through the internet, but let me show you. In order to justify this concept, I need to prove a lot of things to you. So I'm about to do that. No turning back now. Buckle up your seatbelt, Dorothy, because Kansas is going bye-bye. So, if we're going to suggest that this is somehow possible, then we need to establish something which Hazel lacks, a solid foundation for his character. We need some even footing. Not wondering why he's killing a kid because the guy invading that kid's mind he blames for killing his sister who was also a kid, who died to become a person to fight the evils perpetuated by the person he now works for. Really makes a whole lot of sense, Hazel. So instead, let's think about Hazel's explanation here as his cover story, obviously. Let's discuss what may have really happened. Now, if you're going to infiltrate Salem, you can't screw up your cover story. And a lie is the easiest to remember and go along with the closer it is to the real truth. So for the most part, it's true. Gretchen Reinhardt was Hazel's sister, who enrolled at Beacon against his wishes and lost her life on a training mission. He did hold Oz responsible. Keyword. Did. Past tense. Because I believe his grief unlocked his semblance. I believe he sought out Oz in a rage and attacked him. I believe all of this. But what I also believe is that there are details omitted. First off, he had no chance. Attacking Oz as an angry kid means you'd get slapped, and he probably did. But let's say you're Oz at this point. And remember, this is not Oz as we know him now. Secrets revealed, all the Jin story, and Oscar poking holes and stuff. No, this is old Oz. Oz at Beacon, long before Little Red Riding Hood showed up. You find this kid with a powerful semblance, a lot of pain, a lot of potential, and nothing left to live for. And you're Oz, who, despite having a lot of people's best wishes at heart, is kinda shady, kinda sketchy, and not above using people and putting people in positions he needs them. You've just found your perfect ally. You teach Hazel a bit. You train him. You tell him there's someone responsible for his sister's death, but it's not me. You tell him he can actually help. He can truly make a difference. And most importantly, he cannot let his sister's death be in vain or for nothing. Now remember, Hazel must have been young here, unless he held the grudge for many, many years then went to attack Oz, but even then he still wouldn't be good enough to fight Oz. But it is stated, I think it's in his Amity Arena card, but one of them, it is explicitly said that Gretchen was his twin sister, so they are the same age, and she enrolled at Beacon, so she would have to be in her mid-teens. So he was around that age when these things happened. So you have an impressionable person you can push these ideas into, and who probably would come around to it. You give him little missions to go on, nothing to attract Salem's attention. Remember, this is the time of peace. She's doing her own thing, things are relatively good around the world. Once Hazel is strong enough, you tell him the real truth. You tell him about Salem. And I know you wouldn't say that he wouldn't do that, but hear me out. In fact, you tell him everything he needs to know about Salem, including her immortality and the version of the truth about who you are, not all the details. Reincarnation and all. Before you say he wouldn't, think of it like an extremely secret version of what he did with Crow and Raven, but deeper. Hazel has nothing left. Similar to the way Crow was treated, that he felt he had a place now, that Oz gave him one to be a general, as it were, to be someone he could trust, but he found him through the school. This is someone full of pain and loss and anger and looking for someone to fight. This is a perfect person to mold into your secret weapon. Because the only thing stronger than someone who has nothing left to lose is giving someone with nothing left to lose the chance to do something great. A single-minded mission. And he did. He set up Hazel to be found by Salem. They worked on Hazel's story. They crafted together the perfect persona Salem would want. Someone who shares one of her deepest held desires, one of her deepest held feelings, and that is a hate of Ozpin and a want for revenge. It's not her only driving key, of course, she has all those things with the gods, but you can't deny it's a key element in her personality. And in Hazel, she would find not just someone who wants revenge, but a powerful person who wants revenge. Someone who was perfect for her recruitment. His personality of a raging brute when it came to Oz, but otherwise calm, well thought out, intelligent person made him literally perfect to be at Salem's side as a negotiator and counsel. Hey, what do you know? Hazel's name can mean brave counsel or strong judgment. Maybe it's both. Perhaps he's saying he is strong judgment, but he's actually incredibly brave to be on that council. Who knows? But the point is, Hazel's story lines up so closely with what Salem would want in an operative. Someone she believes she can manipulate because of his hate for Oz, which she not only shares but understands and believes that she is using a strong, solid motivation for his loyalty. But his calm demeanor otherwise makes him a perfect agent and negotiator, meaning the amount he'd have to kill someone innocent is minimized. Including that part of loss in his backstory will help with that, and his little catchphrases, meaning he's put in an optimal position as a double agent, the most likely to be sent to deal with people so he can know as much as possible about what she's doing, whilst minimalizing the amount of lives he'd have to take personally. This is exactly what happens in the show as he's sent to deal with Sienna Khan. He's the go-to negotiator for Salem, the middleman knowing what she's planning. He still would have to kill when necessary, unfortunately, but at best it makes it a rarer occasion, and such is the sacrifice and struggle of someone deep undercover like him. So, he's perfectly positioned himself with a perfectly crafted version of a backstory where there's minimal holes for Salem to find, and he's on her council due to how strong he was. Then, given more extra training by Salem, which only ingratiates him more under her wing, and makes her less likely to question his loyalty, she's less likely to probe his motivation into that stuff around Ozpin because it's something she shares with him. He wouldn't get caught out as he did with Oscar because she's less likely to ask those questions. But at this point, no doubt you're asking yourself the big question. If he knows she's immortal, and Oz has been in the dark about Salem's plan, so he isn't feeding Oz any info, then what is the point of this? Having an agent in Salem's council sounds fantastic, but all Ozpin has been doing in this story is losing, and everything has been destroyed. What's the point? What is Hazel's mission if he can't kill her and he can't inform Oz? Well, dear viewer, there is an answer to that, a very specific answer. But I'm not going to tell you just yet. You have to stick around because first, to show you some of Hazel's great work so far as a double agent, I'm going to cover every single thing Hazel does in this show and tell you what it adds up to with this theory. You'll see that there is a way to read every action he has taken to show he is trying his best to help the world whilst keeping his cover. Let's go over it. Starting it off around the table at Chapter 4, first episode, he asks how a novice could have beat one of them. He questions how it's possible, and that they've dealt with silver-eyed people before, so why it shouldn't have mattered. This is information gathering. He's prying into the open what happened to know how the situation has changed, what weaknesses Cinder has, and to see if anything is being hidden from him by the others. Because it's a very valid question that prompts responses from everyone, including from Salem. It's a subtle manipulation of the room to make sure he's informed. Yes, this isn't helping him be a good guy in any way, but it's a very smart thing to do. Next up is the train station, and at the train station, Oz has no way of knowing what Hazel has been told to do, and is trying to ensure that if he is out here to commit evil acts, that this new reincarnation will survive by running away. Also, an innocent, scared child is more likely to survive with Hazel's persona, no matter what his given mission, as it fits with what Salem expects of him, so he gets more out of not telling Oscar the truth here. Also, very importantly, he doesn't tell Hazel who he is, because if Hazel is ever pressed for information on Oz, he cannot give up information he does not know. For the moment, him knowing Oz's identity isn't needed. He's not trying to give him info, that's not his mission. If Salem knows, he will know anyway, so it's better to stay secret as long as possible. It is better Hazel is ignorant, so Salem can't find out anything by any means. It doesn't affect Hazel's ultimate mission, his ultimate goal for Oz that I'll reveal later. He says not to let small obstacles block your path, again reflecting that he himself faces many hardships and issues with his mission, but must keep to his ultimate goal in mind. Oz then simply tells Oscar he is someone from his past, someone who should not be taken lightly. Again, this is more truth. Hazel is in this role because he can take it, and Oz knows what he's capable of. Oz has reason to fear him, and fear for the lives of others given Hazel's role and his position with Salem, and those feelings he summons up are probably things along the lines of regret, shame, and doubt at what he's getting Hazel to do, and still sadness at the loss of Gretchen that is still in Oz's mind no matter what. These bad feelings that ring through Oscar are legitimate, just not contextualized. This is like two operatives trying to achieve the same goal but working to keep their identity secret from each other so they don't endanger each other's mission. Them knowing each other is not required for what each is set out to do. Now we jump over to Sienna, and again it makes sense that he was the one sent. He's the most level-headed of the generals who can handle himself physically in a more basic environment, unlike Watts. It puts him in the best place to keep tabs on Salem's strengths and weaknesses should he need to know it for any reason. It's not essential to his mission, but it's better to know than to not. Despite his persona being a thought-out character planned by himself and Oz, his emotions do slip. His aversion to unnecessary death is one of those things he legitimately feels, but they're tied into his persona knowing it's a thing for him. But he does show it at Sienna's death. His annoyance at Adam is actually threefold. 1. He doesn't like the killing, and that's just true to his character. 2. He likes to be informed, and his question is checking if these actions Adam has taken are orders given by other people. He gets his confirmation from Adam saying it was his business. Keeps Hazel in the loop that Salem isn't straying away from him by giving others orders secretly, or that any outside parties aren't becoming involved in the situation. And finally, the third bit is saying that it's our business now to Adam is a twofold attempt to get Adam to share with him future plans in case he has any more tricks up his sleeve, and its annoyance in case Salem is unhappy with this and doesn't want to endanger his position he's worked so hard for with all his time and sacrifice. Now we jump forward to Haven. Hazel at Haven is initially there to demolish an empty school. It doesn't cross his unnecessary deaths aversion yet, and when he does arrive, he still doesn't know who Oz is yet. But we'll get to that, don't worry. Oscar's "oh no" is because of what he's been told previously, of course. Cinder saying Tyrion and Hazel would have found the other huntsmen to kill them eventually. It's true Hazel may be sent to kill huntsmen, but if you look at how Salem treats them and gives orders to her generals, it's clear those missions would far more likely regularly go to Tyrion, and appears more to be an intimidation tactic from Cinder at Hazel's presence. Once the fight starts, Hazel doesn't move at all. Until challenged by Ren and Nora, of course. He says he doesn't want to fight them, and that makes sense. He's giving them an out. It's expected from him, so Salem wouldn't be mad at that. Once the fight starts, look at how defensive Hazel fights. He's not trying at all. He's out here to wear them down and maybe knock them out in the fight, not kill them. But then we get into the more interesting bits. Once Hazel hears Oz's name, he's actually forced to react. Yes, you could see him shouting, tells the others, but Lionheart already knows. He could easily just tell them all now. He has to stay in character. He can't risk someone asking why he heard Oz's name and nothing happened. So once he hears Oz, it's on. He checks for the cane, and seeing that, he starts his rage out routine. He does so for 2 reasons. 1, this is a dire situation. Oz may not be able to escape out of here anyway, so this doesn't actually hurt his odds. And it focuses the room on him, so there is no question of his character by the other bad guys, then this will be relevant later. Now watch this evolve further as it goes. He starts his rage out in a big lightning show, and Oz reacts with his "oh no" because he's realizing what's happening and that Hazel is activated. He tells Oscar to run, knowing Hazel has no other choice now. Then Oz begs Oscar to let him take over, but this isn't really because of the reasons you think. Yes, Oscar cannot take Hazel, but Oz can. Oz isn't trying to beat Hazel, he's trying to save Oscar because he knows he and Hazel can put on a show for long enough. Hazel could only play with Oscar for so long before it'd get suspicious and to the point he would need to kill him to keep his position. Hazel, despite raging out, isn't really trying, just like before. Yeah, he yells and he hits the ground and he clocks Oscar once, but given how he's talked about, this seems pretty weak, doesn't it? It knocks him across the room, but it hardly Hulk smashes him like Loki or anything. He actually gives him ground so he can do the next part. Hazel gives monologue time. He tells his story a bit. He lets the others hear him and see him, because he can see that it's just Oscar, not Oz. He moves dramatic and slow. He basically goes into pro wrestler mode. His heart isn't in it, no matter what his words say. He's giving time for the save, which comes in the form of Crow. He can fight defensive against Crow for a few seconds here. He doesn't want to take him out of the fight, although I guess unfortunate if he does. Then slow walks and talks. And when Oscar challenges him, he stops. He actually fumbles here because Oscar is poking holes in the story. The type of questions Salem wouldn't really ask. He needs to save face and keep stalling, but Oscar's refusal to back down does actually legitimately make him growl. Because he's trying here, man. He's trying his best. Oz recognizes this and forces the switch because Hazel can't stall much longer. Then look at his reaction when he notices the switch. Yeah, to the general public it seems more angry, but actually it's just that he can double down now and continue the show. He can continue this fight. Now they can do the fight people won't question. He takes his hits from Oz, but with just a cane it's never going to be enough, and in the child's body as well. They're making the show last. It'll even be commented on later how much energy that took all that time fighting for Oz. People like Crow can take bigger hits without dying, and again, it's unfortunate if they do, but mostly Oz can keep up his dodges and light hits. Look at what happens when a student jumps in. Zap, knockdown. He doesn't have to kill him, he just puts him down and totally focuses on Oz. Yes, what he does to Nora here sucks, and he doesn't know her semblance, so I don't think it's that clever. But I still believe he wouldn't have killed her here. Simply reduced her to a knockout as well and just left her if he could. Oz tells Nora his semblance to try and discourage her from trying, but of course she does anyway. And he's pretty willing to take this hit from Nora here. Then once he smashes through the wall, he hot dogs and grandstands and roars and makes a show and discourages Adam and the others from joining in. He's fine. He's using this all to waste time, so that he isn't pressed into killing the others and Oz. He tells Adam to fix the mess outside since it's nearly impossible, and it excuses him so he can continue his mission and keeps the rest of the forces busy outside, minimizing the deaths inside. He actually would have hung around and stalled longer outside, but it's Weiss that drags him back in. After he's inside again, he's back to playing defensive. He attacks the summon before Oz or the kids. His single-minded attack on Oz isn't really so single-minded. He continues to stall in a way others wouldn't notice while in the fight. He also faces down the girls. He probably wouldn't kill them, and he isn't focusing Oscar now, is he? But he roars and makes a show, so no one would accuse him of not being wholeheartedly in the fight. Look, he continues to let them monologue. He's in no danger of losing, and he's letting the others waste time for him. If he really was single-minded monster with Oz, he wouldn't have stopped here at all. Instead, he takes the opportunity to leave. He saves Emerald, which he didn't have to do, but he doesn't want the misguided kid locked up either, and he just stays on side with Salem moving forward. He uses everyone else's slow down tactics, everyone else's monologues, as an excuse to not be killing them, and he changes his targets away from people to minimize the amount of damage he does in a way that doesn't let people question if he's actually in the fight or not, because he's still doing things. It's actually a masterful bit of navigating through combat and trying to play both sides. Now we skip forward to Volume 6. Back at base, Hazel takes the lead, saving the two kids. Yes, he could throw Cinder under the bus here, but Emerald and Mercury are Cinder's minions, so maybe don't risk it. Rather than risk that, he's going to shoulder the blame, and that fits his character. This is where some of his mask slips again, and he gets defensive of the younger people. Also, he can take whatever Salem is going to dish out better than either of them could. Now, we know from other dialogue that Hazel had checked where Oz was headed, because he's about to pull off a master stroke here. It is his ace in the hole for this situation. Emerald or Mercury could reveal Oz existing anyway, so he's pretty smart to do this play. The thing that bonds Hazel and Salem is a hate for Oz, because it's the best thing that would surely have helped Hazel initially get on side with her. She is about to head for shade. Shade is unprotected. There is no communication and has minimal defenses. An easy target, they would get that relic. So, leveraging what he already knows about Oz, knowing that Oz's existence can be revealed at any time anyway, and keeping Salem's desire for the relics in mind, he tells her that they're heading to Atlas with Oz. She can't ignore that. The want for the relics, one being in the open, and one being at Atlas, plus her hate for Oz seals it. Hazel redirects Salem's plan, changing it on the fly from targeting a helpless, unprepared city towards the most well-guarded and prepared kingdom on Remnant, and towards Oz, who may be the only one with the chance of stopping her, especially if her threat allows Ironwood and Oz to see eye to eye. Now that didn't happen in the story, we know that now, but at the time, this is actually a pretty great move. It keeps him on her side, it puts him back into her good graces providing information considering the screw-up they just had, and it disrupts her previous plans, buying some time for everyone else, and it redirects her forces at the place with the best chances of defending against them all at once. Also, yeah, he then protects Emerald and Merc by leading them away from Salem's response. We'll also tack on Hazel's volume end scene here. If you want something done right, do it yourself. For him, he wants to stop Ozpin or he wants to stop Salem. Maybe both apply. And finally, we jump all the way ahead to Volume 8, Episode 4. I'll skip over him just walking through the door in Episode 1, there's not much there. He punches little Oz in the gut, gives him the boots and threatens him. Yeah, it's pretty damning, isn't it? Or is it? Salem is watching at this point. You have to keep up the show. You can't pull your punches. Also, as grim as it sounds, this is actually the exact scenario Hazels Mission would be in place for. Because yes, dear viewer, it is finally time. I will answer the question. I will reveal Hazel's true mission for Ozpin. Because Hazel is not a double agent to feed info back to Oz. That's too dangerous to ever risk working. He isn't there to backstab Salem because that's impossible to win. No, he's Oz's secret weapon in a different way. A very special way. The only one who can stand up to Salem over time is Oz. He's the only one who knows all the secrets. It's all Oz. Outlasting generation after generation. Hazel knows this. Like it or not, Oz is humanity's only chance. So Hazel's secret mission is actually not a secret at all. In fact, Salem has Hazel on her council to do the exact secret mission Oz recruited Hazel for. Because I'm here to tell you that Hazel does work for Ozpin, and his secret mission from Ozpin is to kill Ozpin. That's right, think it over. Think about why you'd need such a thing. Look at the situation right now. Oscar has no chance to escape. But if Hazel were to, say, let his unending rage take him over and kill Oz, well, he wouldn't be trapped here and tortured by Salem anymore. Also, Oscar wouldn't have to suffer anymore. Because what's worse to you? Death or a lifetime of capture and torture? I know which one most of us would choose. It's actually a mercy. If you're Oz, thinking through this chess game in terms of lifetimes, not single incidents, then one of the most powerful tools you can have is a way out of being captured. A way to escape and keep your secrets. And the perfect person for that is this person that Salem would absolutely be the one she'd go to as his torturer, which is exactly what happened. Hazel could be here to do that. Or the other option, and crazier one, now Salem has left them alone, and what would you do if we cut back and Hazel's persona switches off, and he helps Oscar up and tells him to stay quiet and tries to break him out of here? Yes, he might die doing this, yes, Salem would absolutely kill him if he killed Oz too, probably, but that's the accepted risk you take when dedicating your life to a mission like this. It's the same risk that every undercover cop or agent or spy or whoever takes. It's bigger than you and your life. The one mission you need someone on the inside for is to save you if you're captured, to either help you escape or mercy kill you so you can reincarnate elsewhere again. It's the ultimate secret weapon against the stalemate of immortal Salem and being helplessly captured for a whole lifetime, which is always an option you'd have to consider in Oz's position. What would you do if that happened? It's something you can actually do to counteract it, and the perfect mission for someone who has nothing left to live for and is smart enough to understand the importance of that role, even if it never occurs in his lifetime, to actually work towards stopping Salem from the inside by being the one to prevent the only person who can stop her being captured. That's why Hazel didn't warn Oz about the attack on Beacon. There's no guarantee that was going to work anyway. He can't risk it. He's literally a last resort element. The more he does to ingratiate himself, the better. Oz is playing the game of lifetimes. Also, it was being helmed by Cinder, so not much faith. Remember, Hazel is operating under the teachings of old Ozpin, that if this is part of a grand scheme of which we know not the final move, we mustn't be too hasty. He has to play his role, no matter how much it hurts. It's also why he acted how he did at Haven. Oz wasn't totally trapped, so it wasn't murder him time, but the option was there. Oh, and speaking of hurts, let's look at a little meta, because semblances, as we know, often reflect a character or their story in some way. Hazel seems obvious, right? He is endlessly suffering in hate and pain at the loss of his sister, so he has a way to literally block out physical pain. Obvious metaphor, right? Wrong. What if it's far bigger? Because Hazel has to block out the pain of what he's doing, his life, his dedication to this mission, and the awful acts he has to do for the greater good. To hold out against it all and shoulder this burden, that's a pain he must truly try and block out. To do it for his sister, so her loss was not in vain. To do what is necessary to truly make a difference and maybe save the world, so no one would have to die unnecessarily ever again. Even if it requires him to commit heinous crimes to keep his cover. That's a pain you truly need to bury and block out. Hazel's true suffering. Maybe you say I'm crazy. Maybe you're right. All I'm saying is, what's the snapshot of your face gonna look like if we come back in 2 or 3 episodes at absolutely the midpoint of the volume where things have to go crazy and start happening? Oscar is taking a beating and begging for mercy. Hazel checks around that they're all alone, helps Oscar to his feet and starts trying to help him to escape. Or asks him if he'd like to die instead of being trapped here. Because suddenly you've turned the weakest, lamest, biggest letdown of a villain back into one of the deepest, most interesting people who is risking more than anyone every day for the greater good right under the nose of the greatest evil in the world, putting himself through darkness and even the chance to do good, and it surely will cost his life eventually. Maybe his clunky backstory and lack of effectiveness at Haven actually reflect his true intentions. Or maybe he's a big brute who'll happily kill kids because he's mad someone got his sister killed fighting the thing that he's now working for and doing evil. Which do you prefer? Stew on it a little, maybe think it over, let me know. Please be sure to like the video if you like it, share it if you think others would like it too, leave a comment with your thoughts and subscribe for more. Now I've blown your mind and talked your ear off, then it'll have to be all for now. Until next time, my name is Rigger, I hope you have a wonderful day, and I hope I did alright. Alright, so I don't have an end card or anything, but as a bonus watching all the way to the end of this really long video, have a treat. I ran across this frame watching Hazel's scenes for this video. Honestly, Rooster Teeth really need to fix their subtitles across RWBY. Seriously, they're out of sync for like the finale of Volume 3, possibly the most important episode of the series, and they're missing for random episodes in Volume 2 and 3, and there's more. It's pretty bad. But anyway, here you go. Official subtitles from Rooster Teeth. Yep, that's legit. And of course I had to meme it. A super secret link to the meme image is in the description if you want it. Go grab it, no one else will check it. Anyway, until next time.